Hey y'all, it's Adrian here and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're new, please do consider subscribing. I'm almost at 800 subscribers, please help a brother out. And for today, we are doing a round, or more like a oblong table of featuring fellow Philam content creators, artists, filmmakers, featuring our snacks. So if everyone can introduce themselves, starting with Michelle again.
Okay. I just go first, I guess. Hey, we got. Hey you guys, my name is Michelle Kyoxon. I am a Photoshop artist / creative director based in Southern California. I make cool Photoshop portraits where I don't put people's faces in them. It's weird, but that's the only way I could describe it.
I like it.
It really is the only way I can describe it.
Good thing you don't do it in person. You take people's faces and like...
Plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
I thought we moved away.
I thought we moved. Yeah.
No, it's not scary. Okay.
Let's make it murderous.
Let's make it.
Let's start here.
Go ahead, Trixie.
Hi, I'm Trixie, aka the Thoughtful Beast. I am a dancer, choreographer, new filmmaker, and friend of people.
Not age, just people.
Not all people.
Okay, what's up, Edrian's channel? I am Marissa Rojas. I am a filmmaker from here in San Diego. I also make videos on YouTube. I am a lover, a fighter.
I'm like, wait, that's my thing.
Where are you
That's
going?
it.
That's all.
Hey guys, it's no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I'm a lover and a fighter.
Okay, well, I'm Janelle, and I am a marketing strategist and video producer, but I am here because I have a channel that focuses on Filipino food. Ding, 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 ding.
And for today's episode, we are called the Tagalonganisas. I actually kind of forgot where that came from. I think I was just trying to be funny, but either way, it's a good joke. So for the first question,
Either way, it's good. It's fine. It's fine.
So for the first question, anyone can answer. How do you all get started with whatever you're doing now?
I guess I'll go first since I'm talking.
Unless you always go first. So.
I'm
Down
here.
So I actually started, I've always been a creative person. I started doing music at like a very early age, but then I slowly transitioned into filmmaking and photography in high school, and then I dropped out of college to pursue music at the time. Eventually figured out that music wasn't my way into the entertainment industry. Eventually stumbled into Photoshop editing, and here I am.
And you made it.
And I made it. I'm doing the thing.
Yes.
Yes.
So for me, I'm trying to remember. It's definitely, it had to do with MySpace. I guess, and I'm talking about photography. Just remember wanting to have a really, really decent profile photo. And at the time, I was really against having a MySpace. I was like, social media. because my brother would hog the computer all the time. So then, when I eventually fell into it, I was like, okay, it's not so bad. But then I just remember wanting to have a really, really decent profile photo. So there's that.
So here you are.
Yes.
Still
Attempting to take decent profile photos. I guess that's really been the trajectory of my
You take
creative.
really good profile
Yeah, I don't know what you're
pictures.
talking about.
Thank you. So
Origin
headshots.
story.
I'm just kidding.
Origin story, dude.
How'd you first get
As a
started?
person? Okay.
I think we all know how you
Jump out of the womb.
Thanks to your parents.
Well, as a content creator, yeah. So I was at work, and I used to be I used to do product marketing. Wow. Product marketing for mobile apps, right? And so there's a lot of analytics and stuff. And one day I decided to be like, what if I did what everyone else was doing and I watched YouTube videos while I was working? And then I watched one and I was like, I don't really like these creators. They're kind of boring. And then I found one that was with food. There was this girl, actually Emmy made in Japan. Emmy eats, right? So she shows food, like all sorts of food. She makes it, she eats it, and then I saw that and I was like, I love her videos. And then I was like, I could do this, but with Filipino snacks and with everything else that I eat, because I don't just eat Filipino stuff. So then I started and I was like, okay, well, this is it. So I just started making videos, found out how hard that was. In and out, in and out, in and out, and then I think I've only been consistent for like a year and a half.
Snaps
long.
with dusty
Hard.
chick finger snaps.
That is hard.
Dusty food
I
snaps.
know, it's pretty hard.
How do y'all get started? I'm looking at you, Marissa.
Oh,
Yeah, Marissa, stop looking at other
She's
people.
like dodging.
I mean,
This is the awkward
it's not
part.
that interesting, so I would just say I've always been a creative person, more creatively inclined. I used to like to draw a lot when I was younger. I got into Photoshop. I'm not as good as Michelle, not by any stretch of the means. I used to make sorry.
Oh wait, yeah.
I used to make Jonas Brothers and High School Musical edits, and I was like really like popular on the Zac Efron forum.
I love that.
Those like early 2010s when everybody just like
Yeah.
made parodies and like
I
music videos,
love
edits.
that.
That's what YouTube was for back then before
That's what
people
you were
started
doing.
doing content creators,
I see.
content creation.
That's true.
But anyways, I'm not doing Photoshop. I entered college like I'm gonna do graphic design, and then I'm like, and then I couldn't get into the classes because it was super impactful at San Diego State.
It was that side.
I was like, I don't even want to do this. I don't want to make logos for people because that's what it kind of was at that time. And I started taking just like cinema classes, like watching movies, like classic movies, and I'm like, this is cool. Maybe I'll try this out. Then I saw how hard it was to apply to the film program, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not doing anything in my life. I only made like dumb music videos with my cousins. Then this is just a whole nother story. Long story short, I snuck onto the set of a Fifth Harmony music video in
Yes.
LA. I was an extra. I was
She
there
was
for
the
like
sixth
14
one.
hours, and I was like, oh, like epiphany, like wow, there's makeup, there's lights, there's a camera. I need to be part of this
It's Hollywood.
some way, somehow. So the next semester, I'm like, okay, I'm changing my major. I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna do this, and here I am today.
You said it was boring. You snuck onto a Fifth Harmony set. How is that boring?
You said Zac Efron.
I know. Like I don't. Okay.
So basically, I just was a fangirl that turned into a filmmaker.
Yes, that is every fangirl's dream, though.
That's your way
She
in.
grew up
That's
to become
your
a
way
filmmaker.
in.
Yeah.
Glowed up. Super glowed up.
What about you, Trixie?
Uh,
Can't avoid the question
I
anymore.
think I'm just going to talk about film specifically
Okay.
because there's a lot of stuff. So film for me, like I recently started like film and video. I started for two reasons. YouTube, I started, like I actually had a Twitch before and I will go back. But I started because of my mental health issues. So I have mental illnesses and I'm in a better place than where I was like, say like 5 years ago. And I know that a lot of people cannot talk about like their situation because either like they're just trying to deal with it, like, and that's already enough, or like the stigma is very strong and it really sucks, or all these other reasons where it's just like, yeah, like it's just not, they just can't talk about it right now. And I felt like, hey, I can, and it's like they're important stories to tell, and I feel like meeting a lot of people, just like in general, like in life, there are a lot of people who are actually very similar to me, and it was like really unfortunate because, you know, when you find people like that, like with the dark stuff in your life, you're like, oh my god, I'm not alone.
Savior. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and it
Not
saves
crazy.
you.
Yeah.
And like, but, so yeah, it's just like all our stories are in the shadows and stuff, and I felt like because I can say this, I feel like I should. And I want to. I'm not doing it like out of guilt, like I want to because I feel like this is important. And so that's kind of like half my why for that. Because I just feel like I can, and like this is something not many people can do yet. And especially because like I'm Filipino, like I'm Asian, like mental health and being like Filipino or Asian, like they just don't go together. Because you don't talk about it. You don't talk about your emotions, you don't talk about anything. So there's that, and then I got into film more because like I said before, like I'm a dancer and choreographer, and that part of my career is not going where I want. And so I was just like, well then I'm gonna hire myself.
Exactly.
Because that's gonna have to be that for now, and that's totally fine. And you know, when there are no opportunities in front of you, like you're either gonna quit or you're gonna make them. Like, and so obviously we're all the people who chose like, I'm just gonna make them.
We got tired. Yes, that's a really, really nice segue to why we're doing what we're doing. Because for me personally, I just same thing, you know, I grew up yeah, going into dance, you know, I did that for a very long time, and I'm just gonna get there. So, you know, I just got tired of knocking. I worked my ass off, and I fought hard to be seen, just to be seen alone, you know. And then, you know, like, but then it didn't happen for me. So, you know, when I decided to step away from all of that, then for me, editing became actually a saving grace for me, because it was what really helped me make sense of my post-grad, you know. So great doors for yourself is what I'm trying to say. Great doors for yourself. Yeah.
I mean, I'm still figuring out, like, I don't really could tell you what my, like, trajectory is exactly. Like, I know I want to make videos and I want to tell stories through visuals for the rest of my life, really. And understanding just how Hollywood works, and just not saying that there isn't a place for me there. It's just there's so many gatekeepers still to this day in 2020, and understanding that the internet is honestly like the final frontier. Like, we still don't know really the potential of it in terms of reach. Like, every day it's like TikTok, right, is huge, and you don't understand, again, how much you can accomplish by creating an audience online. And again, like, we have stories as Filipino Americans, and then for me personally as a female, as a queer person, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait another 20 years until I see more people like me that share my experiences and tell the stories that we have to tell. So why not just do it now? From my own experiences, and eventually I do want to help other people tell their own in a, I guess, more traditional format, whether that be on a streamer or even on a major network. We'll see, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially now, you have no excuse. Like, back in the early 2000s, before, you know, social media was really even a thing, like, it was just getting started.
MSN.
No, but for real, like before social media was a thing, you had to go through those gatekeepers. But now with social media, I feel like you're so in control of where you wind up in terms of your creative career. And because of that, like, we shouldn't pass up on that opportunity. Like, we would be doing a disservice to people if we just decided, oh, hey, let's just not post on here. And it's like, well, the platform's there, it's free. Why not just post on there? There's someone out there who's going to want to watch what you create. So I think it's important for us to take advantage of all of that.
I warned y'all.
Let's segue into being Filipino American and being a creator, because Filipino, if you're Filipino American, nurse, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's usually what our parents want us to be, is something secure and stable.
Yes.
So I guess, like, how have you guys dealt with kind of going against that grain?
I'll go. So forever, so more of my struggle has to do with, like, me being a dancer and a choreographer, and so, like, I went to UCSD, which is not a school you should go to for dance. Yes, you can put my face next to that. Like, I had a great time, and then things got really weird for the program. So, you know what? I want to say that. Or, like, if you want to be a very specific type of dancer, then you can go to UCSD. But if you want to be, like, a dancer who can go anywhere and audition, nah, bruh. So yeah, so anyway, so, like, I became a dancer there, and originally I went as a psych major. And, like, even with that, apparently my parents weren't chill, but they also are, like, the people who, like, don't say it until, like, way later. But, like, I mean, it's really, I think my parents did the best they could, where, like, they supported me and they went to my shows. Definitely the first show I was in, my mom came out, like, you know, I came out and she was like, but you didn't dance. Because, you know, we were more like a dance theater thing. I did a lot of running in that piece. I did a lot of, like, gestural stuff. And so, yeah, like, she's used to seeing my godsisters grew up and, you know, they do jazz and lyrical.
Competition dances.
Yep. So, yeah, that was her first thing she said to me. You didn't dance. That was, like, my first dance show. And so it was just like, okay, and so that kind of set the tone for everything else, where like they would be there to support me, but at the same time, we're just like, what the fuck are you doing? And at some point, this is like my favorite, at the time I was really pissed, but like one day, my mom was like, oh, let's go walk in the park.
Oh.
And I was just like, okay, because I was gonna walk the dog, and I was like, okay, fine.
Gosh.
And then so my mom just talked. Then comes out the most ridiculous story of my mom was telling me, you know, like I have this co-worker, and she's a dancer. She's a young girl, and she's a ballroom dancer, and her husband was her partner, and you know, they danced together forever, and now like she's crying at work. And this is how the story's being told to me. Like she's just crying at work now because, you know, like her husband cheated on her, and now she's just alone. So you shouldn't dance. And I was like, what the fuck?
What does that have to do with anything dance related?
But like this was like, and then she just tried to convince me that those things together made sense. And she's like, you shouldn't dance because you're gonna be unhappy and someone's gonna cheat on you.
Or yes,
being
a dancer.
Because that correlates.
Because that correlates. And so like, it was the most ridiculous thing ever, and I was so pissed. And like, I graduated with a degree, I have a degree in psych and dance.
Nice.
Because that was the way I appeased them, because, you know, they paid my tuition. Like, and my father was like a veteran, so that really cut it down. You know what I mean? Thanks, VA.
Yes.
So like, but like afterwards, it took them for a very, very, very long time to stop asking me when I was gonna go get my master's in psychology. Like, even though I had never said anything about doing that ever.
But that was just like what they expected.
Or more like the question of how are you gonna use your degree?
Yeah, and so like it was just like a very weird time, because like again, like my family doesn't really like to talk a lot, and so like, and when we talk, you know, it comes up like the freaking stupid your husband cheated on you story.
It's usually serious.
Like it just comes out really awkward and weird and has nothing to do with anything. So like it was just like I think they accept it more now because this is just where we are, and I'm just old, and they definitely do worry about me, and I know it comes out of a place of love. But like it's still like the way I had to cope with it is just like I just can't. I'm not gonna wait for their approval. It's just like not gonna happen.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's just not gonna happen. And even though that may be sad, it's not like I don't have the approval of many people, and I have to remember that even though they don't approve, it doesn't mean that like I'm not good at what I do, or I'm not like, you know, like I'm not lazy. I'm not just this random person who's like, I want to be an artist.
Like what Danilo said, just because you spend the whole day sitting down the computer, you know, editing away. Not make you lazy.
No, it doesn't make you lazy. Like it's hard work. You know, like figuring out an ending to a story is hard work. Like because it's just and it's just like I know it's hard to see, but it's just So that's how I kind of dealt with it. It like kind of sucks, but I'm just like I have people who do support me, and that's just where I have to put my focus.
What
I
about
have
you,
a question
yes,
before we go on. Am I the only one that dropped out? Did everybody get
I
like
didn't drop out.
like you guys all have degrees?
We finished.
Okay, well first of all.
No, don't share your knowledge.
Because like you go.
So when I dropped out, that was one of the hardest things to do. And like my mom told me straight to my face, she was just like, I feel like a failure because you failed. And so like kind of going from that mindset of like being a college dropout, like working like just a regular manual labor job, to now like my parents actually ask me like, oh, what are you doing for your work today? Like to go from that to now being able to make a living off of video and photo and creating, like that's the biggest growth I feel like for me and for my parents. But it took a while to get there. Like there were so many fights, especially during that like first year when I first dropped out. It was scary.
Yes.
But yeah. Anyway, you can go.
No.
Just wanted to share that.
Just a brief follow-up question then. Like, so what was your process then in like kind of surviving that? Because I feel like that's where I'm at right now, and I feel really broken, and I'm trying to overcome that. Like,
I think the one thing I kept telling my parents was like, just trust me, because you have to kind of also remember that like our parents. I mean, I'm assuming like none of our parents know what this is, right?
Yeah.
Like we barely know what this is because being a creator is just something that's been so new.
Yeah.
So like going through that whole process, I just kept telling my mom, my dad, like, just trust me. I know it seems scary right now. I know, like, because at the end of the day, they are just doing everything out of love.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, your parents want you to be financially stable. They want to know that you're going to be okay when they're gone. And so having that mindset, I just kept telling my parents, like, I know it's scary for you, it's scary for me too, but just trust me. It's a process, it is going to take time, but just trust that I'm going to turn my passion into a career. It might not be immediate, but you have to trust me and you have to trust this process. And like, it took them a while to actually, you know, see improvements and see like things getting better, but like once things started happening, that's when they're like, okay, I can breathe.
Yes. Okay.
Because the beginning was definitely the hardest though, because they don't have anything to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's just trusting the process and like putting your head down and working is really is really what it was.
Amen. Thank you.
I kind of a follow-up for like to say to you, I guess, like in this place, because like it's a really hard place to be. I think it's also like important for you to think about like what is important to you. Like if it is to have your parents' validation and their support, that is a choice, and that's a valid choice. If it's going to be more my route, that's also a valid choice. But also knowing like what do you like, setting a time to figure out like what do you want right now, what is really important, because each way is fine. Because like the more you clarify like what you really want, the easier it will be. And the thing is that that's nice, but also sounds kind of confusing, is that you can change. Maybe right now it's best for you to be away from that support, you know, and like because of how it's coming at you, and to distance yourself. Because, you know, talking to your parents and stuff, like if they're not coming to talk with you,
It's like you're talking to a brick wall.
yeah, and it's like also you got to know like how much of that can you take right now, because just because it doesn't work right now, it doesn't mean it's not going to work later.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, and just like being really clear about what you need in this moment, so that you're not racking your brain trying to please everyone.
Yeah.
Because like that's just right now isn't like that's not viable. Like that's not something that you can't, that necessarily you might be able to have right now. And that's like okay.
Yeah. Just another follow-up thing, and then we're gonna get to Janelle.
That's okay.
So I mean,
I'm all like,
yeah. I mean, just thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's what did I want to say about that? I mean, it's really hard. It's really hard to, I feel like, be in a place where you like just want to love people, but at the same time realizing that you can love someone without necessarily having their approval is okay too.
Yeah.
You know, and like what you were saying, Michelle, about like trusting, you know, because I mean I feel like I go in and out of like trying to realize if is it me or is it them, you know, but at this point it doesn't matter, you know, but at the same time I feel like perceptions are real too, because like what our friend Rich said, hey Rich, about perceptions, you know, because they like the way they perceive you is how they're gonna treat you. So if it feels like they, you know, come from a place that seems like they don't trust you, then how do you feel like you can trust yourself, and how can you rise above that, you know? Ooh. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'll talk about what you were saying about, I don't know what's happening exactly. But if it comes to like being proud of who you are as a content creator, because for sure, like I was embarrassed to tell people that I do Janelle Eats, and when people ask, do you do that full time? I'm like, nah.
But you were, right?
Like, it's just a hobby, right? So it was like, I was embarrassed about it, because I was embarrassed to tell people that's what I do, because I come from a very like, I gotta do well in math, I gotta do well this. Like I have to be, like I am very, like you give me an Excel sheet, I'm like, let me show you, you know? Like, and so that's the background I come from, and for me to transition into something that's creative, I felt like I couldn't do, right? And then there were people telling me, because of the way that I looked, that, oh, you look like you're not analytical at all. So I'm like, oh,
that's so not true.
You're
Sorry,
so
I'm like,
dumb.
when I first saw her, I was like, she looks smart. She's smarter than me.
But that's not how it goes, like in an office setting, right? Like you get peers like that are super like serious and stuffy, and so this transitions into like you gotta pick and choose. Like I learned that you can't tell everybody everything, right? And so that is my parents. So let me just insert this. My parents are awesome. They got married and they had children very young. So that kind of gave me like, ooh, like wide pastures. Like I could just do whatever, right? They're very like supportive in that way,
Yeah.
right? They actually want us to be able to build a life for ourselves. And although like let's say being an entrepreneur is a little shaky, they know what that can reap later on. So they do hold their tongues. I know, like I'm not dumb. Like I'm sure they have their thoughts, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
but they know what can be damaging, and they are a lot better about it than let's say other parents that I hear about, right? So I'm very grateful for that. But there's definitely the part of like we don't talk about everything, and we're just like let's just not talk about this. Bye. Like see you later. But also the other thing is like I don't have to tell them everything. Like I do not tell them every single thing because I know what's gonna come back from that. And I know that there's certain peers that I don't tell certain things to because the kind of feedback I'm gonna get, I know exactly what I'm gonna get, right? It's like I'm asking for it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, ouch! Yes.
I was not prepared.
Yeah, basically it's like, okay, it's like the first time talking to somebody and then you get some kind of feedback where you're like, ouch, you know, like just learn not to do that again, like learn to not talk to them again about the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
Of course, like it's different if like you're living with your parents or
Yeah.
you know there's certain things, but like you're not like into hard drugs or anything. So for me, I'm like, well, I don't know if you are, but for me, it's like I'm not doing something that will like damage me or damage like my
It's called
physiological state.
growth. There you go.
What?
I know, I'm just making
What?
Oh.
What?
growth. No,
Growth.
the experience as growth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a comedian. Sorry.
But yeah, so if I was just gonna give advice to people, like even just like kids, right?
Nice.
Like you do love your parents a lot, but I am starting to understand my parents aren't perfect. I'm not perfect. Not everything I'm gonna do they will like, and so I'm just gonna tell them all they need to know. They do not need to know everything. Like they do not need to know like all the things that I go through as a person, because then that would probably like one, break their hearts, two, make them worry about me, and three, I'd be like, well, you can't do anything about it, so
Yeah.
oh, I'm not gonna talk to you about it. I'm just gonna talk to my sister, right? I have a group though. You gotta have like a support
Yeah.
group. So then my support group is my boyfriend and my sister, and I know those two I can say anything. Like those two are like my most trusted people. If they're gone, I'm just like, oh my god. But then I have to learn how to like trust myself too, right?
Yeah.
But then part of me trusting them has to come from me trusting myself to
Yeah.
trust them. It's like this whole
Like
circle.
circle.
Yeah, so because there's gonna be a lot of criticism out there. Like there's gonna be so many people. I realize only the people who do criticisms are the ones who are not on the court and actually
Yes.
doing this.
Yeah.
So
They hate us.
yeah, well,
It's okay.
they're like,
Yeah.
You troll in the comments.
okay.
I
Yeah.
see you.
yeah, so they wouldn't know. So like even if someone says something mean, I'm like, oh well, that just makes me, on a good day I will realize this. On a bad day I will not. Obviously I'll take it personally.
Yeah.
But on a good day I'll be like, you're saying that because you're not a creator, you haven't gone through all the steps, you're probably super jaded with something, you tried this before. Like my sister, I did a video with her and this guy like ripped her like in the comments, and I was so sad that she saw it because she called me, and I was like, oh my god, like I felt bad because I was like, I feel like I need to protect you because I'm like, I wanted to go off on this guy, but basically he was saying, this is stupid. I went here for an Nilaga video, and instead I get like this fake trainer, saying as if personal fitness can actually be a career, and like she's like a host, right? Basically, and I'm just like,
Wow.
Personal training is a career.
What did I say
I
about
know,
that,
yeah.
Oh
Trixie?
my god! I used to be a personal trainer.
So my sister,
Just like, how dare you?
my sister is a thriving personal trainer. Like she has a system and it works for her, and still it got to her. And for her, it's because it hit close to home because she's a personal trainer.
Ooh.
For me, I read that as, oh my god, you tried and you couldn't do it, so now you're gonna go
Attack
take her
someone.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's done it, so I mean, sorry to this man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, haters gonna hate, dude.
Yeah, he was hating, and then she was all like heartbroken. I was like, okay, look, this is how I saw it. I see this as someone who tried, got their heart broken, now they're trying to push you down, but you can't because he was just here for a Nidaya video, and like, what is he even doing here? Like, what? He took 5 minutes to like write that comment, or even like 5 seconds, and just they don't think about the impact. So
No, they're just spewing hate.
they
Yeah,
are. So it's like,
And a lot of it does come from like a sense of insecurity with them. So
Yeah.
it's like,
It's a mirror.
yeah,
you know?
like whatever they're putting out, like that's actually probably how they view themselves. He probably was a personal trainer who
tried
ended
it.
up flopping. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way to look at comments like that. Just it's coming from a sense of insecurity with them.
Yeah.
On a good day, right? You can
Yeah,
realize that. On a
day.
bad
But
day,
on
you're
the-
like,
yeah.
It's like,
How do you guys deal with criticism
Yes.
on a bad day?
Let me answer, so y'all can have some time to think about that. But I think for me too, like I'm a super emotional person, and I'm very just like expressive. So it's like if I were to read something like that, which I do all the time in my short films actually, on YouTube, so much hate comments. First of all, I will feel what I need to feel, and often it's like, it's like I feel like my day's now ruined, and then I feel like I'll step away from it and reflect, and then when I'm ready, I'll go back to it. And actually, what I started doing was I started like actually reading it instead of just like purely shying away. Because for me too, I'm not necessarily good at receiving constructive criticism or just constructive criticism. There you go. So then I started reading it and I started to look for what applies to me, and I would respond back, letting them know, hey, thank you for actually taking the time to watch this and even write the comment, and and I think not letting their truth necessarily undermine how I feel about myself and my own truth. So so it's kind of like, so yeah, it's not good about it.
Like a TikTok. Sorry. I guess okay.
let's get TikTok.
I'm gonna hashtag TikTok in this video.
Oh my god.
No, just some office.
how do you deal with it? I just wait.
Mm.
If it hurts, I'm like, duh, it'll go away. It's a few days.
Let
But
it hurt,
hurts.
cup of tea.
So that's what I do.
Mhm.
I just count. I'm like,
Here,
it's
snack
day
away.
1. Yeah. That's the non-healthy way to do it, but
Yeah.
sometimes I do that. But yeah, I literally just look at it and be like, it's been 3 hours since I read it, and I'd be like, okay, well let's wait until it's been a week, see if it's still here, and I forget, by like, I don't know, day 3. So for me, I think it's just a matter of, it's okay, time will pass, like that's how I think of it, but of course it's like in my head the whole time. And then I tell as many people as I can, like, I'm not a bad person, right? Like,
I feel like there was a point where I just started deleting all of the negative comments because like, especially for my Instagram, I kind of saw it as like, oh man, if more people see that people are commenting like negative things, they're also going to think it's bad. So I would just start getting rid of like all of the negative comments on my stuff. And I was like, at some, like, I don't care. At some point I just didn't care, because I was like, I mean, if the only reason why they think something is bad is because someone else said it was bad, that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
That has to do with them having a group mentality. And I feel like that's what it is a lot of the times, is like, if someone is hating on a creator, a lot of the times they kind of just go with what everybody else says and they don't form their own opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And some people don't even, like, the thing that sucks is that when someone starts hating, like, a lot of people who write hate don't even know what your content's about. Like, you can tell by their comment that they didn't even watch your thing or read your thing all the way. Like, I wrote this blog on my website before, and I was basically saying, I wasn't even talking to white people. I was like, hey, people of color, we need to do fucking better and like worry about our mental health.
First one's to clap back.
Like, yeah, I was literally saying we need to do better because therapy isn't a white person thing. It's supposed to be for everyone.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this white motherfucker was just like, why are you making it such a divisive thing?
Like,
and I was like, I'm saying we need to
Yeah,
hop on the train.
Say, we need to join y'all.
Yeah, like, it was so,
Jump
like,
on the T train. There you
because
go.
like the way he was just like, you're just doing this and you're being so divisive. Like, why don't you like focus on things that bring people together? And like, I literally can't.
That's what, did you not read it?
Yeah, like
Did you not
you
read
just
it?
didn't
You
read
didn't
it.
read
Like
it.
you literally didn't read it. Like you got to my sentence, which maybe like was like in the first paragraph that was like therapy isn't just for white people,
That's it.
and
And
then you
that's
stopped.
it. Yeah.
And I was like, that's so dumb.
They got offended, they got angry, and they wrote.
Yeah, and
Instead
it's
of
just
actually
like,
doing
even that
it
first
objectively.
paragraph wasn't even written to be like catchy or anything, because you know some people do that. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
The statement in itself is fine. Like so,
Yeah.
it's interesting because then you have to know that too. Like not get caught up in it.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is just not getting caught up in all of the hate. Like there's a difference between hate and constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And even with
Yes.
constructive criticism, I would go to people for it. I'm not gonna expect like random people to give me constructive criticism because it's not quality, like it's not a quality comment. Like I trust who I trust when it comes to getting feedback on things, and so yeah.
So the other thing that makes me feel better is my boyfriend. No, I just want to say this. The one thing that he reminds me is that everyone has access to the internet, as in everyone. So do you remember when we were outside and there was that guy who came out and he was like,
he has access to it.
So he has access to the internet, but you wouldn't know because you just see text.
Yeah.
If you saw him in person, you'd be like, I wouldn't listen to what he says, right? Like he's not all there. So that's the thing I have to remember. Sometimes these people who are commenting might not all be there.
No.
Or they might be 12-year-old boys.
Yeah,
like let's just be mean.
Who are used to being trolled because they keep getting killed in Call of Duty or something.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing, right? So it's like, but the good people that you listen to are usually really constructive criticism. Like you know it's constructive criticism. So
For sure.
Yep.
Nice.
That's true.
Cool. So it looks like we're about to run out of time, but just on if everybody can go and say one last message, and then also promote their handles and where can people find you. I don't know why I said it like that.
side, because I'm always starting.
Okay, go ahead.
Consistency.
A message.
Yes.
A message to the children.
And the old creators. And the old creators.
Ooh.
Be inclusive here.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah,
Well,
there you go.
Okay, well, my message is gonna be you're gonna have to believe in yourself. Because you're a lot more powerful than you think, actually. You just have to be brave. I think being confident comes with being brave, but we tend to box ourselves in, and that's why you can't realize you could be, I don't know, like Warren Buffett's the first one off the top of my head. Oprah, you could be Warren Buffett. The only difference between them and me or you is that they decided to believe that they can do it. So, okay, that was pulled that out of nowhere. You can follow Janelle Eats at JeanneLleats for Filipino and global food and travel videos.
Sarap.com there.
Oh,
Sarap.com.
Who is that? Whose is that?
It's a joke.
Oh. Like you're directing people to some other website that I don't know.
It's a joke. Sarap is delicious.
Oh, I know that one.
Yes.
Set up, so.
Go ahead, Marissa.
Okay,
Thank you.
my message. Am I doing a message first?
Yes, yeah.
All of these things are, well, the first one is very easier said than done. Don't take anything personally. Listen to those that you trust and take what resonates and leave the rest is usually what I try to live by. I'm Marissa Rojas. I make personal development, self-love content. You can find me on YouTube here. Adrian will link me. There we go.
You always say that. I'm like, I forget. Just kidding.
That's fucked up. Unsubscribe.
Go ahead.
He's the editor, right?
He's editing. I think my message would be to take the time to actually figure out what you want yourself, aside from like everyone else, like your parents, like your friends and stuff. Like actually figure out what you want to do, because I think that will make everything else easier, especially because when you're making content, you see what other people are doing and stuff like that. And it's great to get inspiration from others, but you also don't want to get swept up in going a million different ways just because you're like, oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. It's like, yeah, everything can be cool, but like, what do you actually want to do and accomplish? You can find me at The Thoughtful Beast on Instagram and YouTube, and I think technically Facebook.
Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
okay.
All right. I didn't think of a message. Hold on.
Oh. Yeah, this
I think that when it comes to creators, when it comes to Filipino American creators, it's important for us to realize that what we do matters and that the stories that we're trying to tell matter. And it can be really hard to think about that when you have billions and billions of people doing exactly what you want to do. You could feel very small and you could feel like, you know, you're just one tiny microscopic pea in like this whole sea of things. And so I feel like it's important for us to know that even though we're just one person, we do have the power and we do have the ability to change a lot of people's lives. And to just own that and to be confident in that, because even the smallest story, even like the hidden voices, those are the ones that matter, and those are the ones that people want to hear, and they're important for other people to hear. Where to follow me? Segueing into where to follow me. By the way, it seems so weird to segue into that. You can follow me at Kioxon, Kioxon, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, but like I don't post on Facebook. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And please stay safe and healthy, everyone. Please, please, please. Take care. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.